and hello.
And go.
I love how our intro just stops, and I'm like, hello, everyone. Welcome to Soul Wanderings. We are here to hang out with you tonight and connect with our little selves. And I'm so excited. It's like my favorite thing. I do commit to this every single day. Every single day. So, hello, welcome. We are Soul Wanderings. I'm EJ.
I'm Natalie.
And we are your hosts. You can learn more about us at soulwanderings.com. Um, we do this show for funsies, and during the day, we hang out in our healing center where we get to assist others in their healing journeys, their spiritual journeys, their grief journeys, their trauma healing journeys, all the journeys.
They're fun journeys.
They
Even.
Is it fun?
Sometimes, isn't it kind of nice to see people after they've gone through some of the things and
Oh, for sure.
that type that's like, well, I just wanted to put that other part in there. That's like we get to see that part too.
Oh, that is definitely fun. I like when we get to see the light come back on.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good, you guys. You can learn more about that and what we do at vibesnow.com, VIBEZ. So, yeah, good stuff. How's your week been?
Well, I'm laughing at myself because it's tax day. And so I I just wait to have my taxes done. I do them myself, but I get them done I did them this morning, so they're done. I actually feel relieved. So that's my now right now, but my week's been good.
I love how you just like got them done. Like it's the day of, but you did it. You did it.
I did it.
Oh, I'm a master procrastinator. I work so well under pressure, but because I have business taxes, I have to turn them in a little bit early. And I found out I actually turned them in late.
Oh, you did?
But my accountant files extensions at the beginning of the year because he just knows like nobody turns them in.
Oh, okay.
So I'm good. Like I handed it in on time, just not on the due time. Noted.
It's like, good to know for next year.
That's what I said. Oh, you need them in January? Oh, okay. I've been doing this for how long? I may or may not have known that and just didn't register. Who cares? They're done. They're filed. Everything is good. And you made it just in the nick of time.
Just in the nick of time. And it's good. That's my recent one, but my week's been good. We had a great event this weekend. That was a lot of fun.
Yes, I'm so glad you brought that up. Thank you to everyone who was able to, in the local area, come and participate in our metaphysical mini market. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, until it wasn't, but for me.
Right.
But it was a lot of fun for everyone.
And we had some weather that came in, but so everything works out. Life is a discovery of how things are always unfolding and working out. Uh-oh, what are you missing now?
My water. I went to fill it up and it's sitting on the counter by the sink.
Oh.
And I'm all
oh.
I may have to excuse myself, which would be really weird.
I could understand that.
But yes. I wasn't trying to interrupt you.
No, it's okay. I was watching you and it's all in the flow. So I was saying how life unfolds just like that. Just like that. I guess this is a good intro. See, we're always on point and it's a matter of bringing it to the point. We never know whatever's happening in life and how it's just unfolded, and then looking at it and looking at life and seeing if we can judge life or if we just take it in stride. And our little selves understand things on a much smaller scale. And so when we're doing this type of conversation about our little selves had a much different worldview than our current self. And so that's one thing to understand about looking backwards in our life is that our
Mhm.
younger, no, wherever our younger person was, they didn't live as long as we have now. And so that we have more to understand and have within our framework and the ability to be more wise at this point than anywhere before in our life.
Amen. Yeah. Let's talk about it. Let's just get right into it because that was a great introduction. I was just feeling into what you had to say about it. And when I wrote the intro for our show, I just want to read it because I was in a space of like, we're so super hard on ourselves, and that all comes down to conditioning and just having this topic. And I'm like, oh, I need to like fill into an introduction. Oh, what a crazy time for me to do this, but okay. But it just felt like really good in the moment. So there's a version of you still waiting to be held, not fixed, not rushed, not told to just get over it, just seen. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And I'm really excited about it because it's one of my favorite topics. I say favorite topics often, but this is like, guys, I work on this every single day. It's why I'm obsessed with hobbies and crafts, is because when I am able to connect to my little self, more of me heals. And I have a commitment to myself to heal every day in some way, to be a better version of me than I was yesterday. So, this is like one of the best ways to do that, in my opinion, and
Mm.
from my experiences. And so that's why I'm like, this for me is everything. There's a version of us, of our little selves, that still lives inside of our bodies. And most of us, like, we may not remember our childhood, but we remember that little part of ourselves, or have
Mhm.
a longing to connect, or a longing to heal, or, you know, a lot of us didn't get childhoods to just like embrace that part of ourselves and be childlike in life. So when you think about yourself around, I say, the most pivotal points like ages 6 to 10, like what did you need the most that you didn't always receive? And I just like to start there because it's a good foundation for you to just lean in to where you're at in life right now, and how it could feel differently if you were relating to yourself in that time frame. So, from the very beginning, Natalie, go ahead.
From
I
the very
know
beginning between 6 and 10.
you have so much to say. I can feel it.
It's um I was just thinking about myself during that time. I know somewhere between 6 and 8 I moved, and my family had moved before, but that was before my um remembering, and you're just scooped up as a littler kid. So I remember little bits and pieces from the moving. I don't remember any of the packing of the house and any of the logistics like that. I remember like learning this concept of saying goodbye to friends and not like ever seeing them again.
Mm.
And then shifting and coming to a school system that was very different than the one I came from. There's a couple little things like I wrote in cursive already. They had taught us cursive. What's cursive? Nobody,
I
but
love cursive, but I don't
you
think
too.
anyone uses it anymore.
And I still write in cursive, but I had been taught that. And one of my childhood memories was that the school system here in Utah weren't teaching it yet when I was entered into the third grade. So they told me to not do it, to go back to
Mm.
printing until the other kids had learned. It's funny how you get these little memories that sort of stick. Like maybe being chastised. And so that I know now with my human design that if I'm feeling criticized, then I'll feel less than and unworthy or those types of. And so that's what it left me with, was an understanding. And we had very different. Then there was pods, and so there was multiple grades in like the same big area. And here it was really different.
Mm.
And I also remember my third grade teacher had tattoos. And for me, that was unusual to have a teacher with a tattoo. I think he was in the Navy. So he had a Navy tattoo.
Oh,
That was it. It's funny, these
not
little
common
memories.
as it
No,
is now.
not common in my world. It definitely wasn't something my dad got while he was in the Navy.
Mm.
But I remember that. And so that's not, I fortunately didn't have anything too traumatic during that time period that's coming to mind right now. But this is some of the memories that I came up with. And my little rebel in me already was there because I was like rebellious against. I didn't want to stop doing my way. I just didn't want to change the way that I was writing.
Oh, I believe that about you.
It's like, so looking back at my little self then, I'm such a passive resistor.
Natalie's trauma was she learned how to do cursive before everyone else, and then she had to take it back.
Yeah. What?
That is
I'm me.
traumatic.
Don't change the way that I operate.
I wish I could say the same.
I know.
I had a lot of childhood trauma. Um, that's probably why I really, really enjoy connecting to my little self now, because all of the things I wanted to be, or the versions of myself that I long to connect with, I have the ability to do that now. And that's the beautiful thing about inner child healing and learning to nurture the little you. So I definitely want to move beyond the cliche explanation. We know connect to your little self, right?
Right.
But inner child to me is more uh like emotional memory, like unmet needs, it's innocence. It's also creativity for me. But it shows up. Oh, I forgot someone was here. Like, oh, my lights just went out. But it shows up for me, and not just for me, but I can only speak from my points of view, right? And for my clients, because I do trauma healing, and I would say a good 60% of the healing that takes place with my clients is related to some childhood stuff. So it shows up in triggers. It shows up in how we act or react, like our overreactions. It shows up in people pleasing. It shows up in abandonment. Um, so I always like to feel on like, where do I notice the reaction coming from me? That's bigger than what the moment actually calls for. And when it's bigger than that, then I know that has, for me, it has something to relate to something that was regarding my younger version of me. Um, and I just look at those triggers, they're like not flashbacks necessarily of like what I did or didn't get or what I experienced, or not flashbacks, not flaws, they're flashbacks. And so it's just an opportunity for me to like, oh, like I needed a little extra in that moment. And because I work with energy, I see energy, I feel energy, I believe in the power of shifting energy. I know from firsthand from my experience, I can go back to those experiences in my heart space with my higher self, with whatever that looks like in the moment, and I can go and shift those experiences for me. So I can go back and heal those things just by revisualizing or forgiving or letting go or setting down or being heard or being nurtured instead of neglected or being shown love unconditionally or things like that. And it's so incredibly powerful. And humans are so good at complicating, right? And so everyone is like, not everyone, but I, generally people are like, that just seems like so much work. And it really isn't. It really can be as simple as a thought of just sitting with your younger version of yourself in that moment when you didn't feel seen or heard or loved or whatever that experience was for you. And being with that energy, and what would you want yourself to hear or feel or be in that experience at that time, so you can shift the energy around it.
Yeah, along those lines, I find that when I'm having conversations with people and they're talking about their inner child and something that happened and how they were not supported or how the adults during that time didn't show up for them, there often is a resistance, or they still want the adults to give what the adults couldn't give then, and they still want the adults to give that. They still want it to come outside into them to then
Mm,
heal. And I find that this topic and the way we're talking about it is opening up the opportunity for you to be that adult for yourself, for you to step into that space. And I think that that brings two healing things: healing for yourself to give what your parents weren't capable of giving. And when we heal ourselves, we heal backwards and forwards. And
mhm.
so you get to be the mature adult acting out or stepping forward and actually into that space and authentically giving that, and then giving it to your little self. And
Right.
then the wisdom to know what your little self was lacking and to fill that void and to let go. And that's the letting go part. A lot of times we want to hold on to our hurts, and we'll really be, really strong handed and clenched fist about holding on to our hurts. And this is an opportunity to really just let it be okay, let it be settled. And then another thing that's in an awareness of this is understanding and looking from an adult perspective as to our parents as people,
Mhm.
that from an adult perspective of how our little self misunderstood
Yeah.
an adult's action and took it from some little, when we're little and in that age range you talked about, we're very self-focused. That little, there's just not that worldview. Their world is so small. It's not the wide world that us adults live in. And so it also, um, you can have the understanding and you can put your arm around your younger self and explain that adults get caught up in their own problems too, and don't mean to put those on the kids.
Right. And we don't have parent manuals, right? So we have
But they
kids.
are our parents, is our manual, is how we were raised so often. Yeah.
Right. We have kids raising kids. Like, I know that was my situation. My parents were really young when they had me. So,
Oh yeah.
and those things, I mean, everyone has an experience, right? Everyone has gone through something. Um, Here's a comment. Hello, Megan. Thanks for chiming in. There's something so healing about sitting with your little self and showing the nurturing you never got. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, by a raise of emojis of any kind, how many of you have done inner child work? Is this something that has been called to you in the past? Are you currently working on it? We'd love to hear of your experiences, or if it's something you haven't even considered, or maybe you have and just haven't gotten to yet. I know for me, this has been one of the most substantial ways to heal the trauma, my childhood trauma, um, is, well, through art, through play was the biggest thing. And it still is, it always has been. Um, I want you guys to just do a little reflection for just a minute. So finish this sentence. When I was little, I learned I had to blank to be loved. Just feel on that because childhood healing doesn't mean necessarily that you had a traumatic childhood. You could have been loved without measure. And also, you could have not been loved the way you felt that you needed it, right? Because we all have different languages on what that feels like and what that looks like. Oh, thanks you guys for chiming in. I love when people are doing their inner child work. Yes. So just feel on a time where you didn't feel loved or seen or heard. So when I was little, I learned that I had to blank to be loved, to be seen, to be heard. A lot of times the conditioning begins right there. So, um, some of us who had like a really strict chores schedule, in order for us to be seen or felt loved by our parents would mean that our chore list was complete and then we would get the recognition, right? I know that's a thing. It was a thing for me. Like, we have to contribute to the household. When we do, we get to go and do the fun things as a family and go play and be seen and have conversations after we got the things done. Church, yes, church was a really big one for a lot of people. There's just so many ways that in order for you to be seen, heard, loved, understood, it came with conditions. And so all of our life, we grow up with this conditions on what love looked like or what it felt like, or um, not just love, but just even like friendship or connection or whatever your little self was seeking. What was it for you? Did you have something like that when you were growing up? Like, in order for you to get the recognition or the special time or the validation, did you have experiences like that for
So
yourself?
there was a couple of things that came up. At first, there was like, wasn't resonating with me. But then two things came up. One, to be good and obedient. That was because church was a big part of my childhood. So being obedient. And the other thing was I had this memory that I remember one of the things that I struggled with as a teenager was the idea that was impressed on us more than my dad had headaches, so he struggled with headaches, and he would go along, and then sometimes he would have just this little short fuse. So I think that was some of left me that kids needed to be um, seen but not heard. So
Mhm.
I know that that was a wound that I carried for a while, and I'm pretty sure that was a misunderstanding and probably came from my dad's temp, like when his fuse tripped. Then it was probably because there was a lot of us and we were noisy and we
There
needed to
was a
be
lot of
quiet.
right?
So that was what came up right then. So being obedient and that like being quiet.
Mhm.
I think that it took me a while to find my voice from
Yeah.
that. And still occasionally I might have a bigger voice because we were so loud and there was a lot of us, and then you had to speak loud enough to be heard among the whole bunch of people.
I wasn't agreeing to that. I didn't know that's what you were gonna say. I wasn't like, yeah, that. But I was about to say there is something that I observe in you is I know you say you have a big voice and you can be loud at times, and I see that. I observe that, but also I see when you go to a little Natalie, when you
Mm,
pull back, I see that in you at times as well. And I don't know, like, I can't think of specifically, but I know that like That's something that I've observed with you. I know for me, when I was little, I learned I had to be strong and too soon. Like I just had to grow
Mm,
up too fast. And so it's for me, it's not even like going back to my childhood and like um nurturing myself for the love that I didn't get or whatever that is, but just like I'm giving you permission to be a child now. Like you didn't have the childhood necessarily. So let's do that. And yeah, I'm like knocking on the door of 50 and I act so young sometimes, so playful and so silly because that's something that I've really learned to nurture in myself. And sometimes people will say, like, I had this experience not too long ago, like, you're so annoying. And it was because I was being silly and childlike and being playful. And Natalie had gotten these fun little, what are they like kazoo things and
yes.
like the party things. And I'm like, ooh. And I was just having so much fun because I mean, it was a fun activity. And some people just don't resonate with that. And that's okay. But like, those are things that help me connect to my little self. Like, yeah, I totally am going to be annoying and blow this thing in your face, because that's what kids do.
Yes.
But the thing about all of this, you guys, when it comes down to it, kids don't question love. They question themselves,
Mm,
right? And so it's just like a deeper layer. Like maybe it didn't show up the way that you thought it looked like or should be at whatever age you were at, or even now as you are reparenting yourself, which is another topic I'd love to talk about sometime. But you question yourself. And so those of you who've had childhood trauma, you question everything about yourself. Everything is in question because you adapt to survive, and you don't want to suffer forever.
mm-mm.
I'm trying to turn my heater off. Woo! It
It's
just
warm.
yeah, it's getting hot in here. And without my water.
It's just not quite in the flow today.
Yeah, and so here's some more shares. Thank you to our audience. If you're live on YouTube or Facebook, we really appreciate the interaction with our wanderers. The show is all about us, all of us. So the interaction is great. Thank you. I don't think I ever truly felt loved as a kid in my home. I would find solace and safety at the neighbor's house. I've heard that one actually a lot. Migraines back in the day were not treated or understood. They're still not. Uh,
Right.
I was the middle child, so I got skipped.
His birth order is quite, it really is an experience, birth order. It's undeniable how, like you being the oldest, I'm not quite the middle, but I'm close to the middle. Childhood, so I'm sure some of those things, coming from a large family is so different
Mm,
than a smaller family. I I mean, I didn't have my own bed for a long time. We shared head to foot, and so there was the part of, um, just having to share everything, and there was
mm,
no solo things or hand-me-downs was a thing, and those were the things that felt difficult for me as I was growing up, the lack that I felt. And it and now when I hear so many stories, I realize my childhood, the things that happened to me in my childhood that I used to feel were so difficult don't compare, but it's not a comparison game either. You're not,
mhm.
this isn't a thing that says because someone else had more trauma, more difficult, more awfulness, that whatever it is that you're healing from your with your inner self is less significant. It isn't, because your things are your things. So don't
Right.
put that off to the side because it doesn't compare to someone else's story. Because inner child work is personal,
Yes.
very,
Very
very
much so.
personal.
And it can range from so many things like
Hmm.
not being heard or not being seen, or emotional neglect, or, you know, conditional love, things like that. I mean, it just shows up in so many ways. And from minimal, which can feel substantial, to substantial, which can feel minimal, because we're all just so unique and different. So, but I've wanted to talk, we've talked about having a show on reparenting before, but because we're on this topic, I kind of want to get into it a little bit.
Let's go there.
Yeah, let's talk about the concept of reparenting in a grounded way, right? Because what nurturing really looks like to me is little easy simple things as an adult, like most adults, as they learn and grow through life, learn that speaking kindly to yourself is really important. There have been many times where I've walked my uh, older version of myself, in this moment. I walked my younger version of myself through the grocery store, because there are times where that feels really big and overwhelming to me. And it never used to, but I feel like as I remove layers of the stuff that I've been carrying around with my life, I've become more sensitive,
Mm.
and going to doing simple tasks sometimes can feel very overwhelming. And I know a lot of people feel this way just because the way of the world in general, and people are heavy and it's exhausting, and for those who are energy sensitive. So I think, like, walking through the store and being like, you're doing a really good job, you're making great choices, you'll be out of here in no time, we can celebrate afterwards. You're just talk to yourself as if you were the parent, and just speak really kindly to yourself. And I feel like another one that's been really healthy for me is setting boundaries for myself to protect myself,
Mm.
because my whole life that I can remember, as a child and a teen, I just threw caution to the wind because I didn't understand boundaries. And
That's
people
true.
are like, you shouldn't do that. And I'm like, oh, that's exactly what I ought to do.
That makes sense with you.
Don't tell me no.
Right. Because you can.
I will do what I want. And that was always a theme in my life as well. And that got me into a lot of trouble. And boy, did I have fun, but I also paid the consequences of that. And I had to learn the hard way in a lot of situations. And so now for me, setting healthy boundaries is something that I am really proud of myself for learning to do, because even up until adulthood, even now, up to this current time, like even over the weekend, I crossed a boundary with myself. My gut told me one thing and I did something different anyway. Because sometimes it's challenging, you guys, to set healthy boundaries for yourself because you're afraid you'll upset someone, or whatever that looks like for you. So I think, just, if you don't get it right the first time, do it again. Just do it again. Just try again. The other big thing for me was allowing my emotions to come up instead of suppressing them. I've just been really good, I would say, in my young adult years up until now. When I was younger, I was really emotional because of the things that were going on, and I learned that all that did was upset people around me, and so I would suppress my emotions. And when I got into my young adulthood, being emotional meant that I was crazy, that I was unstable, that I was, insert whatever negative thing that people think of you when you show emotions, because it makes them uncomfortable. I would just suppress, suppress, suppress. And all that did for me, and we've talked about this in previous shows, is cause disease. And so I've had a lot of health issues, and I really believe fully, that's because I suppressed. So allowing your emotions to come to the surface and just releasing them will be one of the most powerful things that you can do. And the other thing that I've learned in reparenting myself is um, to set down the hustle mindset, because when I was younger, it was like, um, money doesn't grow on trees and you can't just get that for nothing. You've got to work hard, and the rest thing just wasn't present as much. It was a hustle mindset, and I've hustled my whole entire life. Like, I've always worked 2 and 3 jobs. I haven't allowed myself to rest well, and that's also manifested in my health. And so I think that it's really, really important to give yourself the rest time. That also includes for me playtime and creativity time. And so sometimes rest doesn't necessarily look like just taking a nap or sitting down and reading a book. Sometimes that can mean, coloring, which I do often, or doing something creative, or physical, like going on walks or working out or doing yoga, or even just stretching or gentle meditation, things like that. What's one of the things that you've learned for yourself in the reparenting?
It's interesting listening to you. What's coming up for me. Um, Growing up in because I was raised LDS, and so in that religion, it is production and service, being being a productive of service member of the church society as well as the greater society. And so here you're talking about resting, and that's a creative rest. And I'm really, you know me, and you've told me about that. That's like I work, and I really enjoy the work that I had. But when I was growing up in our childhood, we had, and I've been proud of it because I really learned how to work hard, and my nature is that different than yours. But I don't play. Like, I don't put recreation seriously. Like, it's a serious thing. I really work life balance. I it that's a challenge for me. And that's a result of childhood. We grew up with animals. I remember as a young kid going out and milking the goats prior to going to school, and chickens and gathering eggs and gardening, and a lot of those things are not necessarily horrible for kids to learn, but it ingrained a different sense into me. So I was really feeling that this being active and productive and not really having a lot of downtime to just craft, it just doesn't fit into my life. Like, it's not a place in my life. So if I'm looking at reparenting myself, in one of the ways from this show coming up for me, it's taking myself by my hand and saying, we're gonna have craft time. We're gonna, right now, there's 2 hours, we're gonna do craft time, and work with my hands. In fact, that was something I was told over this weekend. Do you work with your hands? Well, yeah, kind of. You need to do that more. Oh, okay. And then it's interesting when you're in a metaphysical place and someone gives you insight from a metaphysical aspect. It it what it what it was like for me in that moment. Right now, it feels like it's something different, and
Mm.
it's like that. But that was what was coming up for me. So reparenting, um, like the contrast between what you reparent yourself with is not what I have to reparent myself with. I have to realize that my mother used to say, I wish I was an octopus. I need 8 arms to handle all the kids that she had. She
I
loved
can see that.
loved having all of us. My mother enjoyed being a mother. Um, but there were times where she was just busy. There was a lot on her plate. In addition to raising her kids, she was of service to her church, and that was really important for her. And she did teach me that. But there's this part that she didn't necessarily have the time and individually one-on-one with us spend time. And that was one thing that I didn't ever get, that I get envious of people that had daddy daughter dates, and that just didn't happen.
Yeah.
That was not something my parents did, was take each one of us out for parent kid time.
Mm.
So that was what was coming up for me right then. It was like, oh, as well as like feeling the voice thing. I was like, huh, okay, that's all bubbling up while I'm listening to the tracking what you're saying. And so that's one of the ways I'm going to continue to work on reparenting myself, is
Mm.
to break myself away, to infuse some creative time in addition to all the other things that I do.
Yeah. I love that. It's so good when we have the recognition, right?
Yes.
You become the safe place that you were searching for.
Yeah.
And everyone is learning how to heal and respond to themselves differently. And you are definitely allowed to give yourself what no one else did. Like, that's the beautiful thing about this whole connecting and nurturing the little you, is it can be anything you want it to be. What do you feel like you were missing out on as a child? You can give to yourself now from an older an older version of yourself.
Yeah.
Words. Ooh.
Yeah. I want to, I don't know if it's a problem, but I want to just touch base um into loss for a minute, because let's one thing that happens when our parents, like our parents, so maybe a grandparent dies, and you're close to that grandparent, and then your parents are grieving, and sometimes grandchildren can be sort of left out of the loop of watching for grief, and little kids experience a lot of struggle with being really sad, and then parents withhold, not always, but often. They will work on being strong, and they won't really show their profound grief or the difficulty that they're having with missing their, they will, they'll stop themselves from crying, and they won't cry in front of their children and
Mhm.
openly express that grief. And that can leave kids estranged from their emotions, because it looks like they're not supposed to be sad if mom and dad aren't sad because their
Right.
person died. Then maybe they shouldn't be as sad because their person died. So if that
Mhm.
makes sense, that came up in my group yesterday, and I thought that was a good thing to bring up here, because it may be that you in your little self had a grandma or a grandpa or someone that was special to you die when you were young, and that wasn't recognized, and you didn't know how to handle it because your parents weren't necessarily knowing how to handle theirs at the exact same time.
My parents still do that. But I'm an older version of myself to recognize that's not healthy,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I really appreciate that you brought that up. I feel like that's very important to bring up. I don't know why there's such a stigma around having emotions in the US specifically.
Well, we do have some Puritan roots. So a lot of the founding fathers, and at least the way the history is told, which is another topic entirely. But,
I know
um,
nothing about.
these the Puritan, conservative, the Quakers, and that type of thing. It was a very conservative, keep your emotions in check. It's like,
Mhm.
this is what happens when we have a conservative mindset or framework around emotions, is sort of anti-hedonistic. So it's like, don't seek the pleasure, don't seek those things, but it also takes sort of like, don't feel the big emotions one way or the other. And
Mm.
so I feel like that's rooted in our country, um, in some way. Our language all supports, I'm going to be strong for my kids. And when someone says I'm going to be strong for my kids, I understand it means I'm not going to cry in front of them so that they can just cry all by themselves without me crying with them. And
Yeah.
that really is,
I
I'm
get that.
supportive.
Yeah, I get that very much. I went through that with my parents. I also did it to my son. And now when I show emotion, he's like, "Mom, this is awkward and uncomfortable," because it's not how I raised him. I
Right,
raised him that we're strong and life is hard, but we got to get through it.
right.
So let's go. What are you waiting for? And I have a recognition of that now, and I can now, as he's an adult, I can show him, like, I was wrong. I did it wrong. I didn't teach you the way that I believe is correct now, and all I can't like parent him the same way, but I can be an example to him
Right.
and show him how it can be done differently.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing. How do we do it differently, you guys? We've shared some things, but if you're not familiar, like, one of the best ways to just get started on this is to, like, catch the trigger. So when something comes up and you recognize, like, you know what, that might be connected to something when I was a child, the way I react or the way I feel about that. For me, when I notice that in myself, I just pause. I just pause, and a lot of times I'll ask myself, how old do I feel right now?
Mhm,
Like, where am I at with this? Where did this come from?
mhm,
And then I offer myself compassion instead of criticism. Like, I stopped beating myself up for having these big emotions and big feelings inside of myself that was actually my little self, even though I'm at this age. Like, just offer some compassion and not beat yourself up over it. And I just really love creating rituals. I'm a ritual girl. Um, so, like, the creativity is really important to me. And journaling, if journaling calls to you guys, that's amazing. Journal it out. I like naps. Naps are good, rest is good, something like that. But as you navigate your way through this, healing your inner self, just start with just like one way that you can nurture your inner child this week. You could start this week, you can start tonight, you can start tomorrow. But what's one way you can nurture your inner child this week? And I think awareness really, it, just having awareness in the moment will heal you. Just it begins the healing for sure.
Yes, I
And
found that to be true.
yeah, and you don't have to do it like right now. It takes time. You don't heal your inner child once. You literally build a relationship with your inner child over time. And if we want to go even deeper into the whole, like, when I look into the Akashic records, and you guys, we're on one timeline right now. And this timeline that we're experiencing also affects all of the other timelines that are playing out simultaneously. Also, can change the frequency and vibration of the past lives and our future lives. It's so powerful. Same with our generational healing, same with trauma healing. All kinds of frequencies can be shifted when you just bring awareness. Were you going to
And
say something?
well, it just absolutely understanding, um, those things that you said by what I've been able and what I've moved through in my life. And one of the things I've really grown deeper and deeper about the awareness is that healing is layers and layers and layers and layers and layers and layers and layers. We we really aren't designed for doing it all at once, and there's really no need for that. There's no need to do that. So one of the things that I hear often is, I thought I was done with this.
Mhm. I hear that often.
Well, you were done with that one layer of the onion.
I've said that myself.
Yes.
I've already healed this. I've already healed this. Why is this coming up for me again?
And it's just because there's more to be healed. And I have so deeply learned to trust that I don't need to go on a witch hunt. Which thing in my childhood hurt me the most, or which thing was it? It's like, you don't need to go on those witch hunts. Live your life with awareness, and something inevitably will come up. And
Mhm.
when it feels out of the love or peace or satisfaction frequency, take
Mhm.
note. And then from this conversation, just say, whoa, wow, my little self, was that something about my little self? There is always something inside of you that you can connect to that will answer the questions. And sometimes asking questions of yourself, literally asking your questions to query what's that, will allow you to receive an answer
Yeah.
to a question. Or sometimes you can frame a true false statement and feel whether it's something's true or whether it's not true. These are all ways of checking in when uh, something that's an irritation or something is off kilter comes up in your organic life, because that's where it shows up.
Yeah. It does just naturally. And we all acknowledge this, right? You guys are all aware of this. We're not sharing anything you don't already know.
The other
You-
thing is to remember, and then sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but is to remember that um, there's generally more than just you in the room.
Mhm.
There's your parents, your ancestors, there's the ideologies that you've listened to, there's that person that you admire that's an inspirational speaker that you heard at one
Mhm.
point, there's that podcast that felt significant when you listened to it. All of those things are woven into your fabric, and they're
Mhm.
always there and available. So um, that is part of checking in when something's happening. Like, our belief structure is not just, it's not something we crafted. Not, it was impressed upon us. And so with this awareness, it's not a making that all go blank or wiping the slate completely. It's about
Mhm.
tuning.
Right. Right. And I always say it always comes down to love,
Oh
right?
yes.
It's we always go back to love, and at some point in our childhood, we didn't feel loved,
Right.
even if it was just one experience. But I just want to remind you guys, the love that you needed didn't disappear. It's always been there, but you became the source of that love. And if you haven't remembered that yet, I invite you to remember that you are the source of your love, because you are love. And as you heal, your healing changes everything that comes after you. It shifts the timeline before, it shifts the timeline after. And nurturing the little you transforms the whole you.
Mm.
It's like one of the most powerful ways you can heal yourself is by healing your inner child. It's so, so, so good. It's so good. That's why I do it every day. That's why I have dance parties and coloring and all of that stuff.
Do you feel like this is also a beneficial thing to see the inner child in others, like the inner child that's in our parents or in someone that's challenging for us, to see their inner child and what that
Mm,
might be for them? So that started with why you were talking, that if we're loving on ourselves, do we have within us the ability to send that love back to a parent or our parents, that we're this person that, like, impacted the child? Can we just send that stream towards them
mm,
and love and appreciate? the things that they didn't know how to do.
Absolutely. Yes, that's the generational healing. And I think even not think, let me rephrase that. I feel even with um out intention of it working out that way, it just does because
Right.
we are all connected, especially in generational lines. And so, as you're healing yourself in whatever phase of your life you're in, whether you're focusing on your inner child or you're the version of you that you are right now, it will, like I said previously, energetically affect everything. It's all interconnected. We're all interwoven. We're all pieces of the same source. We are all connected in one way or another. And just like frequency, everything is energy. At some point, someone will be affected by your healing, by the effort you put into yourself. That's why I always say, now that I'm aware, because this wasn't always a thing, is to love yourself fiercely, you guys, to put
Mhm.
yourself first and foremost, always. Because when we heal ourselves, we heal each other. We've always said that in this show. That's one of the biggest like lines we've used and throughout all these years doing soul wanderings is the connection we have to ourselves. It is contagious, right?
Mhm.
And it goes to others as well. And I feel like if this is challenging for you, one of the easiest things you can do is like put your hand on your heart. Just place your hand on your heart and remind your younger version of yourself that I'm here now. I've got you. You're safe. Say the things that you need to hear, no matter what phase of this journey you're on. Even if you're not directly focused on your inner child, you're just focused on the version of yourself now. Just place your hand on your heart and just like comfort yourself because you are the love that you've always needed. No one else is going to give you the love that you need as much as you're going to be able to give to yourself.
Very well put.
Do you have any closing thoughts before we say good night?
Well, this comes up often, and I don't work with it as much as probably could be, but the Ho'oponopono prayer. Um,
Ugh, I say it every day, all the time.
it's such a healing frequency. It
Mhm,
really does shift the energy field to say,
mhm.
I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you. Thank
Thank
you.
you. I love you. Yeah.
Or whatever order those go in. I don't know. I don't know if it matters. Does it matter what
I mean,
order they go
it's
in?
presented in an order of I'm sorry.
Okay.
Please forgive me.
Okay.
Thank you. I love you.
Okay.
You can say it however you want, though, I'm sure.
That's the order that feels like it's proper, if there's
Yeah.
such thing.
I say it often. And when I say literally every day, I say it every day. Like I believe in the frequency of that healing so much.
Hmm.
And also I was a Lemurian a few times. So that's just like resonates with the energy of where that originated from.
Aw,
I can just feel the frequency is all.
that's a good thing. It's validation for the work that we're doing, and also an example of how if you don't know exactly what and that we don't need to find it with our mind, we
Mhm.
can we can experiment with those things, long-standing um, prayers like that. You can experiment with that and watch the effects, watch
Right.
your life shift.
And it gets you in the ritual of just being present in in something that feels good, that allows you to become a better version of yourself.
Yeah.
It's so good. So love your little self today and
Yes.
here on out if you haven't already been doing so. You'll be surprised um, on the way things change for you
Mhm.
and the love that grows inside of you. You'll be changed in so many profound ways that will just literally blow your mind.
And you might even see your relationships that are strained shift.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, in so many ways. Fun topic. Thanks for chatting about it with me. And thank you, Wanderers, for chatting with us on the socials, Facebook and YouTube while we've been live. If you guys listen to a repeat, make sure you leave a comment, like, subscribe, hit all the buttons, share with your friends. We're here to love and support you in all of the ways. We don't have a vote for this week because we had a tie last week. So we have a topic for tonight and we have one for next week. And if you don't remember, then you'll be surprised next week. So we're going to end our show for the evening. It was so wonderful being with all of you. Thank you for your time and your energy and your support, and continue loving your little selves. We'll see you all next week.
Have a good one.
Good night, everyone.